Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
The Breakfast Show.
The One Kenya Alliance principals, Kalonzo Musyoka and Senator Moses Wetangula, have challenged the East African community leadership to depoliticize the integration of the community in an effort to speed up its actualization. Here's Kalonzo Musyoka.
Of course, as one of you, I do know that there are thorny issues in the region. I want to urge that we iron out any political differences in our midst and be able to build a community that is going to be the pride of Africa. But we also had hoped by now that East African Legislative Assembly will have really legislated on the very important matter of free movement of goods and services, free movement, and the right to establishment.
Weda, what do you think seems to be the setback in this matter?
Disparities. I think even Honorable Kalonzo, having been vice president, he doesn't seem to understand the basics. Tanzania is on a totally different tangent. You understand that? Tanzania, their official language of tuition is Kiswahili. You understand that? How they teach Archimedes principle in Kiswahili, I don't understand. How they teach physics, I don't understand. And you know that to fly the Dreamliner, it is written in English. So in terms of education, Tanzania is so much behind. That therefore tend to give them protectionist approach. Because Kenyans, on the other hand, are too aggressive. Mwangi is too aggressive. You'll go there and find chicken from Kiambu. Otieno is there with all the tricks and cunningness. I have seen occasionally. I've been to Tanzania. I remember one time I was in an hotel. I was going to make up a presentation in Arusha. So I told them I would like to have my breakfast very early so that I'm ready by 8:30. It was not ready. 8:30 when I went, what they had presented as a buffet. You know a buffet?
Yeah.
When I tried to pick a banana here, they said, chukua moja tu. Mayai. I said, but this is a buffet. Then I told them, okay, let me just pick and then you charge it separately. They said, Apanam said, hatufanyi hivyo. I said, let me take this one and this one, because where God has placed me also, I've been placed where I eat what I want. You don't give me what you want. When I was young and down, I would eat what I'm given. But now, the only privilege I have is to eat what I want. So they are down. Because Kenyan hospitality industry, even if you said, bring my breakfast at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. somebody will be knocking with the breakfast. Or they'll be calling you sir. So the disparities make them highly jealous. The late Magufuli, may God rest his soul in eternal peace. I think if there is any country hated in Africa, it was Kenya. To the extent that he took away Maasai cows. He took them. He banned our chicken. And when we did the first lockdown, he officially came on record and said, watu wameingia kwa lockdown, make sure you double the price of onions and tomatoes. He forgot, because he was not an economist, he forgot that if you don't eat the onions, you don't die. You don't die.
Yes.
But if the onions are not sold, they rot. So he later on had to come back and backtrack. So the problem is Tanzania. Why? Because of suspicion, because of jealousy. Kenyans and Ugandans, you see, they don't have any problem. They don't have money. You go to Uganda, they'll not harass you. You go there, you do your business, whatever, their milk come here, their whatever. We also, Kenyans, you know, us, we have no problem. So, somebody has to talk to the new president. We trust when Amin Abdallah went, they must have choreographed in all languages so that she comes. During Jakaya Kikwete's term, the relationship grew until the scientist, the Magufuli scientist, the COVID professor came into power. And then now he's fought Kenya, fought everybody. Even it is rumored that one time they lit fire so that the wild beasts would not cross. And they insisted that Kenyan tour operators have to offload the tourists at the border. Then now they pick from there because they want to grow by force. Yet this is economics, and this dates back to the days of Kenyatta, when Nyerere said the Kenyan economy is man eat man society. And I'm told Jomo Kenyatta responded that the Tanzanian economy is man eat nothing society. So it is not just yesterday. We just trust this lady with the instinct of a mother will be able to upgrade, and then we can move as a community.
Moses Wetangula seems to have a solution to that.
Yes.
Members of the EU Parliament are directly elected. And when you have somebody in Turkana or Songea or Mutukulu or wherever campaigning to be an East African member of Parliament, he will be hard put to explain what East African community is, what East African Parliament is, what benefits are going to come out of that, and that is how we can integrate even more.
Is that a solution, whether being directly elected to these positions?
That is a platitude. Being, people who have lived long surviving on elected positions, they only see things election. One of the issues now when you are coming into the constitutional structure is the sovereignty of this country. Kenya is not willing to cede any part of its sovereignty. Tanzania will not cede. So if you are elected to that assembly, you go there, you don't have a budget, you don't collect taxes, you have to sing to the winds of your country. Now you have to make decisions. Those decisions must be based on what your country does. You can't equate it to the European Union. The European Union is like the countries ceded part of their sovereign will, sovereign power, and they gave it to the institution. It was not that because people are elected. They said trade, this one, even the court power, they ceded. When it comes to matters trade, matters was the European Union court had power over even the domestic courts. They had power even to impose sanctions. So when Wetangula, a very highly educated and serious lawyer, sees a crowd, then they just belt out platitudes which look popular. That's not a solution here. Here we are still struggling with just exporting chicken and eggs. Sometimes we receive Uganda eggs, sometimes we block them, sometimes we receive maize, sometimes we block them, sometimes the Ugandans use our roads and railways, sometimes they want to go through the other side. So we are still very far. He needs to know that it is not about election of MPs. It is about the ceding of sovereignty. We are all, each country is clinging to the sovereign position of the country. That's why most of those MPs, they are like, let me use the other way, they are like flower men. They are just there, they go there, Burudinga will go there. When he comes back, he does not report to the president, he does not come back to tell President Uhuru, Your Excellency, as I represent you in the whatever, this is what we are doing, this is where we are. He comes through the Mara forest, Mara game reserve. Coming, I don't know, using motorbike or whatever. And as he comes to the country, instead of reporting to the head of state, you hear him belting out demands on behalf of his brother, who is not in government. So is he representing his brother? What? There you will find you representing your country. They're like ambassadors. So when he belts out those demands, even if he passed a legislation, President Uhuru will ignore it. Will say, where did Oburu Dinga and this other guys vote? They said, put that thing in the shelves. We have a long way to go. It's not about elections.
The Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Nurses, Seth Panyako, is now urging county governments to remit statutory deductions from the health workers to the relevant institutions. He says health workers are not even accessing their salaries because of the commercial banks that recover their loans immediately. The salaries are deposited after county governments failed to remit loan deductions to the banks.
Sasa kuna wale ambao wamelipwa mishahara ya mwezi wa pili wiki hii, wengine wamelipwa mwezi ya tatu wiki hii, na wengine hawajalipwa mishahara ya mwezi wa tatu mpaka sasa. Zile deductions ambazo zimefanywa katika mishahara yao, kama zile za kupelekwa National Health Insurance Fund, loan ambazo hawa wahudumu wamechukua, pesa za kulipa unions na pesa za kulipa insurance companies ambazo hawa hazipelekwi.
Whether what can be done to address this situation, because these are people we trust with our lives and they're not even able to access their own salaries.
I think when it comes to the counties, you need the intervention of our God Almighty, the King of Kings, His Majesty, to talk to these people and change their hearts. You know the counties, you know these people, they pay parking attendants ahead of doctors and nurses. It is that bad. They pay contractors because they earn money from there. There's a way we don't think these medical things are important. And in a country where every person who matters, they go to private hospital. You saw Kirautu Murungi the other day when he was unwell, down here in Nairobi. You saw all of them, they are in Nairobi hospital. In fact, it is fashionable. If Weda was to fall ill and you found I was in Kombewa, the people will be like, I'm impecunious. They say, oh, kumbe ni alikuwa mdomo tu when he fell ill. Uko. So until we are able to build the system in such a way that the leaders know and the leaders think that health service providers are important and critical in a growing economy, then we will still continue to have problems. But the other limb also we need to deduct, to know. Many Kenyans, many graduates, including these doctors and nurses and all these things, they need to be taught financial intelligence. Lisa and on Venswari and all these things. Why? Because they mismanage money. And it's a thorny issue when you discuss people like, what do you mean? The money is not enough. One of the complaints you have had there is the banks deduct the loans.
As soon as the salary hits the account.
Yes. Why? Because they have these loans. If you know your employer, and you know your employer is either county government or Nairobi City Council, the way you know your employer, some employers will not pay you in time. You reorganize yourself in a more special way than the way they are. If I thought the BBI is coming up with some commission, but if there was a mistake we made as a country, was to decentralize the health provision, the health services to the counties. Yet we knew each other that we will send in, we'll elect in Ngorokos there, who will then be working with contractors and making money and building bigger houses and doing what. So when they talk about health, they don't care about it.
Mutafutane na wizara ya ardhi na ndio pamoja mutatu. Ukishamaliza kazi hiyo, ile cheti ambayo umeishika ni cheti ya haki na ni cheti ambaye ni yako.
Whether will this achievement mean that, you know, Kenyans can finally get reprieve from after years of being duped?
No. Go and ask banks. Go and ask banks. Originally we used to have passbooks. Unaenda una withdraw money, wana sign up. Now wanaweka stamp. Kenya Post Office Savings Banks. Now go and ask banks today how much they are losing. Go and ask Americans when they do their electronic elections. Go and ask Honorable Raila, I will tell you about logarithm and open the servers. That part I think the president has not been briefed over. That is one limb. The other limb is the digitalization of that process assumes that the country has been surveyed and we have the markings, I don't know how they are called, the bearings for every plot. Less than half of the country has undergone survey. Please, you need to understand, and listeners need to understand the difference between surveys and anything which has been surveyed is always on straight line. Any plot that has been surveyed is surveyed on the basis of a straight line. But there is the marking, the ones we had originally, where they come in, they fly in a plane, and then they draw things. That is where the bulk of Kenyans are. That limb has also to be addressed. Then the third limb is the ownership. The ownership of land. You go to rural land, lands are in the names of our great grandfathers. and we are not willing to subdivide and sell. Why? Because if it was to be divided and put in the name of Lawyer Weda, he will sell before these other people realize. So the question of ownership, the question of this chetty will go to whose name is another issue. So I think it required very comprehensive approach with a lot of money, not launching a section of this program. So the president is in the right direction, doing well, except the details he may have not been briefed over.
Well, thank you very much, Weda, for your time on the show. As always, it's a pleasure having Weda on the show every Wednesday morning. He's our regular analyst who comes by to bring us up to speed with the biggest political and social events of the week gone by. Weda is advocate of the High Court, author and canon of the Anglican Church.
What's going on?
The Breakfast Show 2021.